The crystal ballroom glowed with warm golden light as Ethan Parker adjusted his tuxedo tie and made his way through the crowded charity gala. 1 year ago, he finally believed he had conquered the demons that haunted his nights. The memory of Lily Thompson had faded into something almost bearable, almost manageable. He had thrown himself into his work, building his real estate empire from the ground up, and found temporary solace in the company of women who asked nothing of his heart. But tonight, something felt different in the air. Ethan stood near the grand piano with a glass of champagne, making polite conversation with business associates when he felt it, an electric charge that made every nerve in his body stand at attention. He turned slowly toward the entrance, and time seemed to stop. She walked through the tall mahogany doors like an apparition from his most vivid dreams. Lily looked breathtaking in a flowing emerald gown, her dark hair cascading over her bare shoulders. But it was not her beauty that stopped his heart. It was what came next. A man walked beside her, his hand firmly placed on the small of her back. He was tall, distinguished, and carried himself with the quiet confidence of someone born into privilege. His other hand rested gently on the shoulder of a small child, a boy who looked to be about 5 years old, with dark hair and familiar features. Ethan could not breathe. The child was unmistakably his. He could see his own jawline in the boy's face, could see the stubborn chin that he recognized from old photographs. His hand holding the champagne glass began to shake as the room started spinning around him. Lily had never told him. She had simply disappeared 5 years ago after their engagement fell apart, leaving only a brief letter saying she needed to find herself, that she could not stay in a life that felt suffocating. She had left no forwarding address, no phone number, no way for him to reach her. And now she had returned with a man on her arm and their son. Their son! The man leaned down and whispered something in Lily's ear, and she smiled. That smile he had memorized so well, the one that used to be reserved only for him. Her hand slipped into the crook of his arm as they moved deeper into the ballroom. As if sensing something, Lily lifted her gaze and her eyes locked with Ethan's across the crowded room. Her expression shifted from happiness to shock to something unreadable in a fraction of a second. She whispered urgently to the man beside her, who glanced in Ethan's direction with mild curiosity. Ethan felt his world crumble as he watched Lily's lips move, forming words to her companion. The man nodded and began walking toward him with Lily, following reluctantly. The child in his arms looked around with wide, curious eyes, taking in the glittering decorations and well-dressed guests. When they stood before him, Ethan tried to find his voice to say anything, but nothing came. The man extended his hand with a polished smile and introduced himself as Alexander Rhodes, Lily's fiancé. Ethan heard himself shake Alexander's hand, heard himself making sounds that resembled words. Then Lily spoke, her voice trembling slightly. The truth was finally time to come out, and they all knew it.
Ethan excused himself from Alexander and Lily, claiming he needed fresh air. He moved through the glittering crowd, feeling like a ghost, watching his own life collapse around him. The balcony overlooked the city lights, but he saw nothing as he gripped the cold stone railing. His mind raced with 1,000 questions that demanded answers. Behind him, he heard the soft click of heels on marble. He did not need to turn around to know it was Lily. When she spoke, her voice carried a weight he had never heard before in all the years he had known her. "Ethan, I never thought I'd see you again, and certainly not like this." She stood beside him, but kept a careful distance, as if afraid he might shatter if she got too close. His voice came out rough when he finally spoke. "Your son, Lily. Is he my son? Because he has my face, he has my eyes, and I need to know if you kept that from me for 5 years." Lily closed her eyes and leaned against the railing. Her shoulders trembled slightly. "I never meant for it to happen this way. I found out I was pregnant 2 weeks after I left. You were so focused on your business, on becoming this powerful empire, that you had no time for me, no time for us. We were drowning in secrets and lies, and I could not bring a child into that chaos. But you still kept him from me." Ethan turned to face her fully. His voice was steady, but underneath burned a fury she could feel like heat radiating from his body. "You did not give me a choice. You disappeared and left me wondering if you were alive, if you were safe, And all this time I had a son I never knew existed? I was scared, she whispered. I was young and terrified, and you had just told me that you thought maybe I was holding you back from your dreams, that you needed to focus on the company, that we were not working anymore. I found out I was pregnant and I did not know how to tell you, so I ran like a coward. Ethan turned away from her, gripping the railing so hard his knuckles turned white. And Alexander? Does he know that the boy is not his? Alexander knows everything, Lily said quietly. He loves Marcus unconditionally. He raised him as his own. He has been the father figure. I could not give him a mother and father both, Ethan, but I could give him a stable home, a loving family, a man who chose to stay. Ethan flinched at the name Marcus. Their son's name was Marcus, and he was hearing it for the first time from a stranger. I came back because I owed you the truth, Lily continued. I owed Marcus the truth. He deserves to know where he came from, and so do you. But I need you to understand that my life now is with Alexander. We are engaged, and we are building something real and solid. You lied to me. For 5 years, you lied? Ethan's voice cracked with emotion. Everything we had, everything we were meant to be, disappeared because of your secrets. I know, she said, and tears streamed down her face. I have lived with that guilt every single day.
The next morning, Ethan sat alone in his penthouse apartment with black coffee growing cold in his hands. He had not slept. He kept seeing Marcus's face, kept hearing Lily's words echoing through the chambers of his heart that he thought had finally healed. His phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number, but he knew it had to be from Lily. I want you to meet Marcus properly. I think he deserves to know the truth about where he comes from. Would you be willing to have coffee with us tomorrow afternoon? There is a cafe near the park where Marcus likes to play. I will send you the address. Ethan stared at those words for a long time. Before he could talk himself out of it, he replied with the simple, yes. The cafe was small and tucked away from the main streets, exactly the kind of place where they could talk without drawing attention. He arrived 15 minutes early and ordered a table by the window. His leg bounced nervously as he waited. When they arrived, Lily was holding Marcus's hand while the boy skipped beside her with the pure joy that only children possessed. Marcus saw Ethan and immediately became shy, hiding slightly behind his mother. Lily knelt down and whispered something to him, and the boy looked up at Ethan with curious eyes that mirrored his own. Come sit with us, she said gently, guiding Marcus to the small chair beside her. She ordered juice and a pastry for the boy, while Ethan felt completely helpless. Marcus, this is my friend Ethan, Lily said, carefully choosing her words. I knew him a very long time ago, before you were born. He has something he would like to tell you. Ethan cleared his throat, trying to find the right words to explain something so profound to a 5-year-old. Marcus, my name is Ethan, and I am very happy to meet you. He paused and felt Lily watching him intently. Marcus, I knew your mom when she was younger, and I cared about her very much. And before you were born, I did not know that you existed, which means I missed out on knowing you, and I am very sorry about that. The boy tilted his head and studied Ethan with remarkable thoughtfulness. That means you should have been here, he said simply, like he had just explained the solution to an impossible puzzle. Yes, Ethan said quietly, it does mean that. Marcus took a bite of his pastry and then said, My daddy says sometimes people make mistakes, but what matters is trying to do the right thing now. Is that what you are trying to do? Ethan felt something crack inside his chest. Marcus was wise beyond his years and spoke with a clarity that cut through all the pain and anger. Marcus is very smart, he said, looking at Lily, then back at the boy. Yes, that is what I am trying to do. Over the next hour they talked, and gradually Marcus opened up. He told Ethan about his favorite books, his love of dinosaurs, his dreams of becoming a doctor. Ethan found himself smiling despite everything, listening to his son speak with animation and passion about his life. Every word felt like a precious gift that he had been robbed of for 5 years. When it was time to leave,
Marcus suddenly reached out and hugged Ethan, surprising everyone, including himself. When they pulled apart, the boy said, "You can visit me again if you want. You seem nice." As Lily gathered Marcus to leave, she lingered for just a moment. Their eyes met, and Ethan saw in her expression the same conflict that raged within him. The past could not be changed, but the future suddenly felt full of infinite possibility and heartbreak all at once.
3 weeks passed, and Ethan found himself visiting Marcus every Saturday at the park. They played on the swings, built sandcastles, and walked through the tree-lined paths while Marcus chattered endlessly about everything that crossed his curious mind. Ethan had never felt so alive and so devastated at the same time. He was building a relationship with his son, but doing so while Lily remained engaged to Alexander felt like carrying a dagger in his heart. One afternoon, Marcus ran ahead to explore a small playground area, and Ethan found himself alone with Lily on a bench. She wore a cream-colored dress, and her engagement ring caught the sunlight in ways that made his chest tighten. "You have been so good with him," she said quietly. "I can see how much he adores you already. It took me a long time to decide to come back, but seeing you with him, I know I made the right choice." Ethan could not look at her directly, so he focused on Marcus climbing the monkey bars. "I never thought I would have this chance," he said. His voice was strained. "I was angry at you for so long, Lily. I thought I hated you for what you took from me, from us. But now that I am here with Marcus, I realize I could never hate you because he is so much a part of you." Lily reached over and placed her hand on his arm, and the touch sent electricity through his entire body. "Do not do this," she whispered. "I can see what you are feeling, and I need you to understand that I am marrying Alexander. I made that choice long before you came back into our lives." "But did you love him when you made that choice?" Ethan asked, finally turning to face her. "Or did you love the safety he offered you, the escape from the uncertainty that I represented?" Before Lily could answer, Marcus came running back, breathless and excited, and the moment shattered like glass. She quickly pulled her hand away, and Ethan felt the distance between them grow even though physically they remained close. That evening, Ethan sat in his apartment staring at photographs of Marcus that he had taken throughout the day. His phone buzzed with a call from Alexander. The businessman was polite but firm when he spoke. "Meet me tomorrow," he said. "There are things we need to discuss regarding Marcus and Lily." The next morning, they met at a coffee shop far from where anyone they knew might see them. Alexander was different when they were alone, without the veneer of charm and politeness that he maintained in public. "I know what you want," he said directly. "I see the way you look at Lily. I see the way she looks at you when she thinks no one is watching. But I need you to understand something. Lily was broken when I found her. She was a single mother, struggling to provide for Marcus, and she was haunted by ghosts from her past. You were one of those ghosts." Ethan tried to interrupt, but Alexander held up his hand. "Marcus needs stability and consistency," he continued. "Lily needs someone who will not judge her for the choices she made when she was desperate and frightened. That is what I provide. I love Lily completely, and I love Marcus as if he were my own biological son. I came into their lives and gave them security. I gave them a future." "Then why would she come back?" Ethan demanded. "Why reveal the truth about Marcus if your life together is so perfect?" "Because she wanted to give Marcus the truth. He deserves to know his biological father," Alexander said, his voice softening slightly. "That is the kind of woman Lily is. Even when it threatened everything we had built, she did what she believed was right. But do not mistake that act of honesty for an invitation to ruin what we have constructed." Alexander left money on the table for his coffee and stood to leave. Before he walked away, he said one final thing. "Be a father to Marcus. That is all I ask of you. Do not try to be anything else to Lily, because she will never leave me, and if you push her, she will have to choose, and we both know which choice she will make for the sake of her own peace." 1 year after Lily and Alexander's wedding, Ethan stood in his penthouse office looking out at the city lights below. His life had transformed in ways he never expected. Marcus was thriving in school, and their bond grew stronger with each passing day. But something was missing. Something that gnawed at him in the quiet moments between sleep and waking. His phone buzzed with a text from Marcus, sent through Lily's phone. Marcus wanted to know if Ethan could attend his school play. He was playing a dinosaur, and he wanted his biological dad there to see him perform. Ethan smiled and immediately replied that he would not miss it for anything. The school auditorium was packed with parents and family members when Ethan arrived. He spotted Lily and Alexander in the third row. Their hands were intertwined, and Alexander had his arm around Lily's waist in a gesture of easy affection that no longer caused Ethan's heart to splinter. Marcus bounded on his stage with infectious energy, roaring and stomping in a way that made the entire audience laugh. Ethan recorded every second on his phone, capturing his son's joy, his creativity, his pure, unfiltered happiness. When Marcus spotted him in the audience, his face lit up brighter than any stage light. After the performance, Ethan waited outside the school, and Marcus came running toward him, still wearing his dinosaur costume. Ethan scooped him up and spun him around, filling with a pride so profound it brought tears to his eyes. "You came!" he shouted. "Marcus was absolutely perfect out there, buddy." Alexander approached and placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder in a gesture that surprised them both. It was a small moment, but it contained an unspoken understanding between two men who loved the same people in different ways. Lily joined them and suggested they all grab ice cream to celebrate Marcus's performance. At the ice cream shop, they sat together like an unconventional family. They were not the family that Ethan had once imagined, but they had become something real, something honest, something that worked. As Marcus chattered about his performance and ate his ice cream with more on his face than in his mouth, Ethan caught Lily's eye. She smiled at him, and in that smile was forgiveness, acceptance, and something close to peace. That evening, after dropping Marcus off, Ethan returned to his apartment and made a decision. He had spent so long trying to win back something that was never meant to be his. He had finally learned that moving forward was better than looking backward. He called his business partner and proposed something radical. He wanted to step back from the company to focus on building a consulting firm that mentored young entrepreneurs, particularly those from underprivileged backgrounds. He wanted his legacy to be about lifting others up, not accumulating more wealth and power. Over the following months, Ethan poured himself into this new vision. He started volunteering at community centers. He mentored teenagers who reminded him of his younger self. He gave lectures about the importance of honesty in business and in relationships. He was becoming a different man, not through force or desperation, but through genuine desire to grow. Months later, Lily reached out asking if they could have coffee alone. She arrived looking nervous, like she had something important to share. "I wanted you to know that Alexander and I are talking about having another child," she said. "I wanted to tell you first because I thought you deserved to know that our family is expanding." Ethan felt a flutter of something that might have been sadness, but mostly it was happiness for her. He reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "You are going to be an amazing mother again. I know you will." "We would like you to be involved," she said quietly. "If you want to meet the baby when they arrive, if you want to be part of this growing family." Ethan nodded, unable to speak for a moment. "Yes, I want that very much." As they said goodbye and Lily left the coffee shop, Ethan realized that his story with her had finally reached its true ending. Not the ending he had imagined, but the one that was meant to be. All along, he had been searching for closure, for redemption, for a way to fix what was broken. But the real closure came from accepting that some things were broken for a reason, and that breaking had led him to become someone worthy of the love and trust that Marcus had already given him freely.